The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about this case, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Listener discretion is advised.
Previously, on The Last Clue, 3 men watched Joe Powell die on the cold pavement of Norman, Oklahoma. 8 officers stood by. None of them appear to have told the full truth. In The Fisher King, Part 1 of The Last Clue's explosive 2-part season finale, we expose facts about who these 3 men are, what they are protecting, and how a supposed carjacking became a homicide swept under the rug. Secrets, silence, and a truth too dangerous to ignore.
Before we get started, we want to welcome our new listeners and subscribers from Somerset, Massachusetts.
Okay, that has a rich history with the old All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Okay.
Several players from that area, so deep history from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Nice. Thank you for that. How about a shout out to Westfield, Indiana?
I have been craving a hot dog.
Random.
All day. Shout out to Nathan's Hot Dogs.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, still favorite, but home of, if you've ever watched this on July 4th, it's both fascinating and nauseating.
I know where we're going.
I know. I think my stomach just started to hurt. Home of the king of competitive eating, ladies and gentlemen, Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
That's so gross to watch.
That's a lot of wieners in a mouth.
Slimer.
A Perth Amboy, New Jersey.
Oh.
I've got, yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of famous people from that city, but
yeah, a whole lot of shaking going
honestly,
on in that area.
Wherever our listeners are from Perth Amboy, please fight us on this in the comments. But
I hope it's who you're going to say it is. I hope he's listening.
Hell, they all are. Whoa. Apparently from our numbers, but
maybe they'll sing a song about us.
It's the whole damn band. It's Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Birthplace of all of them.
All, as Mom would say.
Now, I have a quick question.
Okay. Yes, we're living on a prayer. We're halfway there?
That's fair.
You give love a bad name.
Hey.
Sorry.
I can't say the F word on here. Not until exclusive.
Exclusive.
Was Tommy born in Perth Amboy?
If he was, he probably wouldn't have had to put his 6-string in hock.
Right, but he worked on the docks.
Well, then it's quite possible.
Okay. I'm just curious about that.
And last but definitely not least, San Jose, province of Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there.
That is my best accent. Costa Rica.
Yeah, moving on.
I wouldn't make it there.
Well, we'd love for any of you who've received your stickers this far to please take photos, tag The Last Clue, and post where you're listening from. And please don't forget to follow us. We're now on TikTok, and subscribe to Exclusive. If you would like a chance to have stickers sent to you, simply comment on our most recent social media post and email us your address. Wherever you're listening from right now, thank you. And as always, keep searching for the last clue.
What if right and wrong aren't as clear as we think? All season long, The last clue has presented every shred of evidence we could get our hands on that seemingly proves that the attack on Joe Powell is not as presented by 3 men and 8 officers and a district attorney, a mayor, and a host of others that will just get cumbersome to mention. With that type of firepower behind it, that type of assurance, that type of bold, stand your ground attitude, is it possible someone has evidence that has not been presented and is certainly not in the Joe Powell case file that proves this was a simple carjacking all along? It could have been, if not for the state medical examiner. Their report is crystal clear. Joe Powell's death was a homicide, and there's more to come on this. Still, in the back of our minds, we have to question ourselves. That's what good investigators do. Was this a simple misunderstanding turned deadly? Were the lines between right and wrong blurred in one fatal instant? Some psychologists would be of that frame of mind. In 2002, a pair of them introduced us to the Dark Triad. This is a theory that describes a trio of offensive but, as they claim, non-pathological personality types. The first is the easiest: narcissism. And honestly, this could go for all parties involved. Whether you are of the belief that these 3 men acted according to the law, or whether you think they should be incarcerated, you're letting your ego and pride affect how you think. That includes all of us at the last clue. But the lack of empathy also factors into narcissism. That factor appears to be firmly on the side of the men and their innocence. The second is Machiavellianism. This is characterized by manipulativeness, an indifference to morality, and a focus on self-interest. Just hold on to this one until our closing segment. The third is psychopathy, and this is much more ingrained into this incident. Antisocial behavior demonstrated by an assault, impulsivity, again shown by how rapidly the situation turned deadly, and remorselessness. Again, file that one away. The Dark Triad. We'll definitely be reading more about it. Whether it's the psychological theory or the 3 men who attacked Joe Powell remains to be seen. After tonight, we'll most likely be reading about both of the Dark Triads.
And now, the Season 2 finale. The Last Clue presents Episode 10, The Dark Triad.
The ending is the same as the beginning. When the last clue dove into the case of Joseph Powell, better known as Joe, it wasn't supposed to be a deep dive. It wasn't supposed to be much of a dive at all. More like a child with floaties jumping into the shallow end of the local swimming pool, testing boundaries in life, and certainly not for the last time.
You can hear it in episode 1, Life and Death, where we gave a general overview, clunky at times, of the entire scope of the Joe Powell case. We told you everything we knew, at least everything we knew at the time. There were mispronounced words. There's bound to be more. Long periods of silence, and no music at all. That wouldn't make an appearance until episode 4. After episode 1, we were satisfied. We'd done just as much or more as most of the established news outlets in Oklahoma, and for that matter, around the world. Then we received a message, an email. Someone we didn't know, probably to tell us that we had butchered a name or something of the like. Still happens. Instead, it was someone who had listened to the episode. They told us in no uncertain terms that we had only scratched the surface of this story. There was much, much more. We were excited, then curious, then a little concerned.
Just as you like to say, all of the things. Why would someone reach out to a husband and wife duo who had stumbled through their first season of Travis Decker and Amy Bradley type stories to tell us to keep going? We were nobody. We're still nobody. Someone in the worldwide interwebs thought differently, and that person will never be named. It's called a source, and it's protected by our parent company, Smith Media Team, LLC. We felt compelled to explain what a source is because it seems as though the Norman Police Department struggles with basic crime and journalistic terms, and our listens have been booming in the heart of the Sooner State. We can only suspect we have listeners on patrol. We digress. Episode 2, simply titled Justice Lost, was focused on the email that Joe's mother, Amanda, had written to various outlets begging for coverage, pleading for the case to get another look, asking for basic courtesy as she processed her 23-year-old son's death and continued to fight for media coverage. You can hear the emotion through our co-host, and you fought back tears and choked through the words of a parent just months after getting the call no parent ever wants to receive. No one listened. No one except the last clue.
From that point forward, we were on a mission to find justice for Joe. We didn't know what we would find at the end of this journey, but we were set to embark on a mission, a rabbit hole, as we call it here in the studio, and we would not settle until we had answers. Conflicts, episode 3 in our series, began unraveling the web as we discovered discrepancies in reports of assault versus carjacking, and we dug into Oklahoma law as to why none of the witnesses were named in reports. This was truly the beginning because only the last clue had brought forth any of that information. Not newspapers, not radio, not TV or podcasts. It was us. And that would continue our trend. The last clue has brought you more information on the Joe Powell case than anyone else. In episode 4, we did the unheard of. We retraced the steps. Physically retraced the steps of Joe Powell in the episode, The Walk. We acquired Joe's garment information to tell you exactly what his body told us before and after his attack. The Witching Hour, episode 5 in the series, brought you the exclusive, never-before-heard 911 call from one of the witnesses who admitted to assaulting Joe Powell, claiming that Joe had attempted to enter a truck occupied by the three men. We also critically examined the 40-plus minutes between the assault and the 911 call and told you the glaring documented difference between reports from the Norman Police Department and the Oklahoma Medical Examiner.
Episode 6 dug even deeper as the aftermath took you to Tulsa, where a lone TV station had the testicular fortitude to broadcast the police body cam footage, and we, in turn, brought it to the world. We critically examined the gaudy techniques of 8 officers as they moved a critically wounded Joe Powell before EMS personnel were on the scene, while others appeared to have disregarded interviewing the witnesses individually. The Last Clue continued to bring you never-before-seen documents in Episode 7, Every Breath You Take, by taking you through every critical point of the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's report. We were the first to discuss Joe's agonal breathing and how a single mark on his body could be the clue, possibly the last clue, that could tie the homicide ruling together. The investigation continued, where the never-before-heard bridge between the 40-plus minutes of silence between the assault and the 911 call was bonded with the potential research of the Stand Your Ground law in Episode 8's Skeletons. And in the first part of the 2-part season finale, Episode 9, The Fisher King, we gave you every piece of information our listeners can know about the 3 men once deemed witnesses and now potential suspects. Every breadcrumb, every hint, every last clue.
So here we are, just you and us. We're definitely not telling you this to toot our own horn. We're telling you this because it's fact. And that is what we've brought you all season. Facts. There are going to be copies. There are going to be those outlets regurgitating our story. There are going to be junkies claiming they are breaking news. They're not. And you know that because you've been with us since the beginning. You've heard every single piece of fact that can be told right here on The Last Clue. With that, The Last Clue presents our featured segment, Clueless.
Although the season is now over, the pursuit of justice for Joe Powell is not. And justice can be ironic at times. The one place in the world where justice for Joe Powell has been absent looks to be where it may be found after all. As we have brought you all season in another exclusive here on The Last Clue, a writ of assistance has been filed by attorneys representing the Powell family, requesting the Oklahoma State Medical Examiner produce all documents and files regarding the Joe Powell case. This includes, but is not limited to, tissue and blood samples, microscopic slides, and photographs. Folks, you don't request this unless the investigation into the death of Joe Powell isn't continuing in some form. And that request, we're sure reluctantly, has been granted in Cleveland County District Court. In colonial times, a writ of assistance was referred to more commonly as a general search warrant. A search warrant is a warrant signed by a judge or magistrate authorizing a law enforcement officer to conduct a search on a person a specified place, or an automobile for criminal evidence. This explanation isn't for our listeners. You're way too smart for basic law enforcement. That was specifically for the Norman Police Department.
Everyone has gone silent. No comments from NPD. No statement from the chief of police.
Don't say we didn't give you the opportunity.
Certainly nothing from Mayor Holman.
He's very busy on Facebook.
Very busy.
Definitely not old enough to remember when it was all farmland.
And certainly nothing from the Dark Triad.
You see, listeners, all cats are gray in the dark. What I mean by that? You see, listeners, all cats are gray in the dark. The appearances of these men as upstanding citizens and business owners are meaningless without stepping out of the shadows, kind of like the shadows they cast in that parking lot over Joe Powell. So this weekend, maybe turn on the Ohio State game.
Ooh.
They're certainly better than the other OSU team in Stillwater.
Mm-hmm.
And just to help you out, men, that game is on the Big Ten Network. And they play at Purdue. Common wisdom and the first 48 have taught us to stay out of Tulsa. Maybe the Joe Powell case has brought us clarity to stay the hell out of Stillwater, or Kingfisher, or Mountain View, or maybe it hasn't. As stubborn as you men can ever be, it pales in comparison to the last clue. The chickens have come home to roost. If mom and dad were too busy medicating the animal compound and didn't have time to explain this old farm saying, it means your past actions, most certainly the bad ones, have come back to cause problems. Maybe you'll land in jail in your best Levi's. Maybe you'll sell the farm to avoid that. It's a lot of chickens. If you need us, we'll be training for the SBY Marathon in Maryland for a few weeks.
SBY? Is that Salisbury?
I can't confirm nor deny. By the way, anyone have Jim's number?
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information regarding the murder of Joe Powell, email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Follow and review The Last Clue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen. And always, keep searching for the last clue.